So now that we've registered the samples with the lab, we received the sample kit in the mail. So inside this kit, what it's got is it's got our machine tags, which we're going to apply to the machines here in a few minutes. It comes with a set of stickers that we'll actually label and put on the bottles, the samples, when we're done. There's some other information. If we need to add more assets, you can go through the customer submission form. And there's some instructions that also come along. Along with your asset list. These two units are actually set up for this demonstration. So now that we're over by the machine, we're going to label the asset. As you can see, I located the tag that was provided in the kit close to the location where we're going to pull the sample. I'm going to show you a demonstration of pulling an oil sample from an oil system, and we're going to label the bottle and extract the sample. There's a couple procedures that we want to go through so that you get a good representative sample when you're extracting it. We're going to take this one through the fill cavity because it's what's accessible. We're going to utilize a vampire pump with a bottle that's attached. We're going to put our hose down in. We're going to actually extract some of the sample, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull a whole vial, and then we're going to take it off. What we want to make sure we're doing is actually flushing the hose and to be able to get a good representative sample. We'll just set that one aside. So now I'm going to take a clean bottle, take the cover off, put it on. We're going to start to grab a sample. I'm going to want to be able to get this one about, maybe quarter to half full. I'm going to take it off. I'm actually going to put the cover back on, shake it up. What I'm doing is making sure that if by chance there were any contaminants, I'm going to throw that oil away. If by chance there were any contaminants in the cover or in the bottle, they just got flushed out. Because when we're dealing with oil bases, it's very critical to make sure that we have a good representative sample because of the particle counts that can be in there. We're going to fill her up, take it off, cap it right away, set it there, and then I'll put this other bottle back on just to keep my vampire pump clean. And we're going to make sure that we put the cover back on the system. The other thing that we need to do, so we need to make sure we identify the sample so that it gets labeled correctly. I carry a Sharpie with me, and the number that is valuable for this asset is 1002. I write that right on the cover, and then when we get back to the table, we will be able to put the Oil Lab sticker on here, and we know which number it is, we can date it, and then we'll send them off. The reason I don't put the label on right away is due to the fact that if we were to get some oil on it when I'm extracting the sample, sometimes they get soft or they actually peel off and don't want to stick. Okay, here we are at our second asset, which is a water base. We've already put the tag on, which identifies the system and it has the sample number. It's a little different when we pull with a water base. There's a couple different options. One, we can use a vampire pump, which is what I'm going to use. The other typical way that people will pull it is they'll actually just take the bottle, take the cover off, and dip it in the sump. You might want to make sure that if there's a lot of tramp oil, you can try to push a little bit of that out of the way, which is like a layer of oil that sits on top of the coolant. So there are a couple different methods. The one thing that's different here is it's not quite as critical as far as cleanliness as it is on oil, because it's one of the tests that isn't done. So when it comes to doing a flushing of your vampire pump, things like that, all I want to do is make sure that I flush enough that if there was any other residual in there, it disappears. So we're going to pull this sample. We got asset 1001. We're just going to bring a little bit up. I'm going to stop the pump. I'm going to put my bottle on, and then I'm going to fill it up. Take the bottle off, cap it right away. I'll just put this back in the sump, and then I put it back on to keep my vampire pump clean. Then I'm going to grab my Sharpie again and make sure I put the number on to make sure that we identify where the sample came from. So it's just the 4-digit number, 1001. And then we will be taking them over to the table to put the labels on and get them ready for shipment. Now that we've collected our samples, one of the key components here is putting a label on the sample bottle. We're going to fill out the paperwork. What we need to do is, and the reason we put the number on the bottle is keep it straight. So we have acid 1001. We're going to put in the date, which is 9/17/19. That way the reports get stamped with the date. There's some other pieces of information that you can fill in if you have them, like the hours on the oil or hours on the unit. Also, there's a job note which allows you like 10 spaces to fill in. We could put like new coolant here. And then the lab will put that comment on the report. The second one is 1002. And again, we're going to put the date on there. We're going to want to make sure that the bottle is clean, because if there's any oil on them, the stickers may have a tendency not to stick. And we're just going to peel them off. Place them on the bottles. These stickers have the account number of your company and the name, so that when the lab receives them, everything's registered and ready to go. They can log in the numbers and start the process. Then when you get that done, what you're going to do is put them in a box, and we're going to ship them off to Benz Oil. On some of the labels, there's actually a label for shipping, which has our address, and just stick that right on the box and send it out in the mail. And in a couple days, you'll get your results.